Yeah, I'm back. I'm back for another portable Clint. Here I am at the farmers market in Los Angeles, California. I have a very great guest. He is I want to say the commercial king right now. Oh, that's fine. Totally
Probably
fine.
my agent.
That's fine. And he's also on a theatrical role, but we'll get to all that. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Nelson.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Look at that.
Let's
Look at that. Look at this.
This looks good.
Okay, when did you get out here? Let's just cut to
I
it.
moved to LA. My first day in LA was October 19th, 2005.
Okay, why did you come out here?
It's a really interesting question. I was turning 30 that year in 2005. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was in Chicago and I had a day job. I was doing sketch comedy with a bunch of friends. I had done Second City and did plays, but I had no idea of like, I'm gonna go out to LA and I'm gonna make it. That was not in my stratosphere of thinking. So I had friends out here. I got my job transferred out here from
What was your
Chicago.
job?
I was an executive assistant in an office building. So it was with this real estate company that has offices all over the country. So I asked them 6 or 8 months in advance, like, hey, I'm thinking about moving out to LA. Do you have any offices out there that need help at all? And they found me a gig, which was cool. So I moved to town and I had a job. So that was, I didn't have a place to live.
How did you find a place to live when you got out? Did you just drive in and look for places, or did you
I
come
stayed
in
on
before?
my friend Fred's couch for
Fred
a couple
who?
weeks. Fred Warner. He's a session runner in town and an actor. He's in commercials as well. So I stayed on his couch for a couple weeks, and through the grapevine, friends of friends, they were like, hey, there's an apartment that's like 3 blocks away from my buddy Fred's. And went there, and a roommate bailed on them last second, so they were desperate.
Nice,
so they were
nice.
meeting weirdos off Craigslist.
Sure.
So when I showed up and wasn't a maniac, they were like, please, God, please,
Yeah.
please sign the lease with us. So two of the greatest people ever to meet. Like, again, just like a lot of happy accidents and luck along the way.
Isn't that great?
Having 2 awesome roommates, the first place in a place I didn't know that much about. Having some friends here and meeting them was huge. So
Who led you to your commercial agent? Like, when did that come about?
I have to thank my friend Shanna. She was an agent at BBA, Bobby Ball Talent.
Sure.
And she became my roommate after it was a big like roadhouse. I was the one person that stayed at that apartment, and then like every year or two someone else would move in. Shanna moved in, she was an agent, and she had seen me doing sketch comedy about town, and she kind of laid down the law, so I owe her a lot. She was like, moron, get some headshots, lie on a resume, just like fill it with stuff.
Can you tell me one thing that you filled it in with? You don't have to go through everything. Just give me one.
I remember I did I went to Indiana University, and I remember doing some little thing for the university. It was like incoming freshmen could do this thing. It was called the Grad Pact, and it was like, we'll help you graduate in 4 years, so you're not here for 7 years, switching majors 17 times. But I remember doing some little, I don't even know if I got paid or anything. I put that on there. I did like an industrial, I think I called it. Total BS. But she just got the ball rolling. So I got my friend Ward to take my headshots.
Free headshots, right?
Yeah, I think so. Or I maybe paid him and bartered with something.
Sure,
like,
sure,
here's
sure.
a cool hoodie or anything.
Yeah.
Johnny Rocket's gift card or something. I was just like, please God. But he took my photos, and they signed, like Shanna got them to sign me like right away. And so I was non-union, didn't have any rep. So they signed me first, went on my first audition. It was for Sam's Club, and got a call back. At the callback, the guy I went in with did exactly what the director told us not to do. So I thought, game over, we blew it.
Right.
Booked my first audition for Sam's Club.
Nice.
I met a great character, commercial guy, Nick Armstrong.
Sure, yeah, he's
That's
a great
around
guy.
town.
I worked with him. He's a great guy.
We met on Sam's Club and became pals. Worked with a director who will remain nameless, but to this day, he's probably the biggest a-hole I ever worked with.
Can you give me a first initial to his first name?
Sure. B.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
We'll think about it. I'll tell you offline.
Okay, thank you.
He was. I think he worked all the time, so he's good at what he does, but he just yells. He just yells at you while you're performing. Which
How can you get a good performance out of that?
Exactly. And at the time, it was my first spot, so I was like, oh, this is normal. And not until I did other spots was like, oh, he was crazy and was yelling at us the whole time. So.
Okay, so you booked your first job, and that's 2005 or is that 2006?
No, the first couple years in LA, I was just doing sketch comedy
Okay,
and working my
okay.
day job. So I finally got my stuff together probably around 2007.
So it took you about 2 years to kind of
Get my feet wet.
Sure.
Get the lay of the
Which
land.
we all need that. We all
Yeah,
need that.
It was great. It was just, I was learning a brand new city and working, I had to be at work at 8 a.m. and work, 50 hours a week. And so I don't know how I found time to do sketch comedy on the outside.
Who did you do sketch comedy with?
I started a group in Chicago called Dry Hump, and you can still find some of our stuff on YouTube, Funny or Die, Dry Hump Comedy,
Okay.
with a group of friends, mostly from IU and Chicago.
Okay, so do some of them move out here at the same time that you moved down here?
Some of them moved before I was here, and then we all trickled in over the span of probably 5 years. There was a good 8 or 9 of us that had moved out here from the Midwest.
Okay, so in 2007 you booked Sam's Club.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next big thing you book?
I book another non-union spot, but I think the third spot I ever booked was a Hyundai spot just for Canada, but they Taft-Hartley me.
Sure,
So
okay,
that was
right.
my third job. It was the spring of '08. I got Taft-Hartley'd where I got sprayed by a garden hose.
Sure.
A woman washing her car, and I'm like the nosy neighbor, and she just sprays me with a hose. But that Taft-Hartley'd me. My next spot was a Hotels.com spot. That was union, so I was like one step closer. And then a few months later, I booked a CC's Pizza commercial, and that was a must join. So I had to go to SAG, and
How much was SAG then?
I think summer of '08, I think it was like $2,400.
Okay.
So it's grown to about three bills now.
So you're booking. You're booking.
Mm-hmm.
Are people noticing you on TV back home? Are they giving you a call?
Yeah, that's probably one of the. I know you asked that question later on, like, what's your favorite thing? I think people getting a kick out of seeing me on
Isn't
TV.
that great? Isn't it great?
It never gets old, and it shouldn't. It's like, I don't know, just getting a text or an email or a Facebook message from someone you went to high school with, or an ex or an aunt or
An
whatever.
X is really good when it happens. Let me ask you this: do you find out about half of your commercials airing by getting a text? Hey, dude, I just saw your new commercial.
Yeah.
And then aren't you excited that it's out?
Yeah.
You're in it.
That's the biggest text you can get.
Yes.
It's like it's getting that letter once a year saying you have another year of health insurance.
Yes.
It's like one of the. You're just like, oh, that's the greatest
Yes.
feeling. But yeah, just especially if it's something you've maybe been on hold for, like you've gotten a few holding fees. You're like, man, this might get the axe,
Yep,
and I
yep,
won't see
yep,
a dime
yep.
besides these holding fees. And then someone's like, hey, I saw it. And then I always, usually you reply like, where did you see it? What was it on? And if they're like, oh, I was on a golf tournament on ABC, and you're like, yes,
ABC.
Yes.
Yes.
If they say like, it was on at 4 a.m. on HGTV, you're like, okay, I'll get a cable check, but.
That's exactly right.
But people getting a kick out of, because I'm still just getting my foot in the door theatrically.
You are, man.
So, but most of the stuff I do is in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I hear
that
you.
People like that and think that's cool. It tickles me. It's awesome.
I'm kind of jumping forward just for a
Sure.
second, and then we'll go back. But what was cool last night is I reached out to you. And then as soon as I reached out to you, I literally reached out to you, then looked up, and I see you on a brand new commercial that I've never
Boom.
seen.
Yep.
Which is awesome. It's a progressive commercial. And you shot that one in Canada, I believe?
No.
Wait, where did you shoot that one?
We shot this one in the Angeles National Forest, so just about a half hour outside of town. That was the progressive spot where I turn into my dad. I turn it's like
That's right. Okay.
turning into your parents. One of those commercials. They've done a handful of those, and they're all brilliant. And Marty Granger is the director. And
Wait, how many progressive commercials have you done?
I've only done one.
Oh, wait,
but
wait.
They've done like 3 or 4.
I see what
of
you're
these
saying.
in
I
the
thought you meant
genre.
you did.
No,
I
no,
got
no.
you. Yes,
That
yes.
would be
I love
awesome.
the genre. I love that
Yeah,
genre.
You turning into your parents.
Yes.
But Marty, I think, has directed most of those, or at least part of them. So they shot a couple of those. But yeah, ours was like 2 days up in the Angeles National Forest.
Beautiful.
And working with great actors. They brought actors from New York and Chicago as well. That we
Dude,
became
nice
pals.
mixture, man.
And that it's running, and it seems like it's running quite a bit. So
Okay,
it's like, that's
dude,
huge.
awesome, great for you. What did I get confused with? Why did I see you fly to Canada? What was
Priceline.
that? Priceline. And that's playing right now.
That's playing right now, where I have a blue afro wig and a white headband. I'm wearing a football jersey. I'm standing next to Chris Mars, and then we are talking to Kaylee Cuoco.
Sure, yeah,
from the Big Bang Theory.
yes,
they
yes.
shot all her stuff in L.A. and for some reason flew me and Chris up to.
So, if I see the commercial, do I think that you guys are in the same room together?
Yeah. She's
And you
kind
never
of,
even saw her?
No. She's kind of like the Secretary General of the UN. So she's on a podium and she's speaking to all these delegations.
yeah.
So there's the Young Lovers delegation and the Family Reunion delegation. We're the tailgaters. So we're tailgaters in that one.
I have not asked this question before to anyone, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but how many commercials do you have holding right now, all together?
Holding.
Meaning playing, holding, but you're getting holding fees.
Yeah.
Because before you answer that question,
sure.
I have seen so many people on TV that I've known who get really hot. Right now, you're really hot in the commercial world. So I say that is a great thing. Good for you, man. Tell me how many you got going on right now.
I have 2 playing right now, which doesn't happen often.
It used to, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Again,
it
I got in a decade ago,
Yeah.
so that was kind of when I got in. There was a lot of auditions, which was great. I just jumped in, and since I was non-union, I was auditioning. I had the ability to audition for union stuff right away, which isn't happening right now for too many people, and that sucks. So we're trying to fix that with the union stuff. But yeah, I have 2 running right now. I shot one a year ago that I've gotten holding fees for, and that's the one I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna run. So
you're still waiting on that one.
Wait on that one, and then I shot a Dunkin' Donut spot that'll come out Halloween time, 'cause it's like a pumpkin drink. So
I feel like I auditioned for that
Yeah.
recently.
Oh, did you?
It's all right. Listen,
Clint,
I know.
you would've been great.
I know. Thank you.
You would've been a
Thank you.
great
I
pumpkin.
know it. Okay, so here's what I noticed. So your theatrical world is heating up a bit right now.
Yeah.
You auditioned for a show called Blackish. When you booked Blackish, tell me about the part you auditioned for.
This is an interesting story. I like this story. I'm glad you asked me about that, because I had been doing commercials but had no manager, no theatrical reps. So like I didn't get in for anything. I didn't know how to like get that going. But I finally got a manager who's great. I'm still with him, and so I'm on the set of a Ford commercial. Speaking of commercials, I'm on the set of a Ford commercial where I'm dressed up like a zookeeper, and I'm throwing slabs of meat and these huge steaks to real lions. And then most of it's CGI, so the lions, they shot them, and then they shot.
Sort of like the girl from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, but there was one set of shots where I was in the cage pretty much, or in the fenced-in area with a female lion. So that was interesting. So I get a call from my manager saying, "Hey, you got this audition for Blackish. It's a new show
By the way,
on ABC."
so many magical things happen when you're on a set.
Oh yeah.
Like you'll book a job. I mean,
Yeah.
so many crazy. It's just such a magical place.
I've heard people talk about that. Like if you're in a hotel room, putting yourself on tape, that gives the air that you're like a really awesome working actor, and you're in.
Right,
So
exactly.
sometimes
Yeah.
that might work. Or it's like if you're in your house and they see, your kids' pictures on the fridge, they're like, "This piece of garbage."
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But
all right.
so I'm on the set of this Ford commercial, and it was like a 2-day shoot up in Santa Clarita or something. They had this weird set in the middle of nowhere. And I just asked my manager, I'm like, I can't get to the thing, but if I can put myself on tape, I'll see if I can do it.
How big is the part?
It's small. I play a male nurse. It's like the 4th episode of the entire show. It's the 1st season, 4th episode, and they need a male nurse where Tracy Ellis Ross, the mom, brings her daughter to work day.
Sure.
And she gets called into surgery, so she kind of pawns off her youngest daughter, Diane, on Nurse Larry for a couple little scenes.
Thank you for having all the names correct for
Yes,
everyone.
yes. It's a great show. I love it. My manager gets back to me and says, "Hey, yeah, you can put yourself on tape." So
Now, did it say recurring on this audition, or did it just one time?
It was just a co-star Nurse Larry one-time thing. So we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm dressed up like a zookeeper. I think one of the makeup artists had latex gloves, so there was a bit where I'm making like a rubber turkey to entertain the young daughter. So I had that, but I was like, I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not gonna find like a backdrop or do it inside of a truck. I put the lion in a cage over my shoulder, used the rubber turkey thing, and did the little like, look, it's a turkey. It's oh my god. And my friend Jessica, who was in the commercial with me, filmed it for me, and I turned it in. And the people that cast it are the loveliest ladies on the planet. The Russian gals.
I was on it this past season.
Oh my god,
they're great.
Shevchenko, Kochara, and Amanda Lanker Doyle, who's got her own biz now, was in the room, and they're just like the loveliest people on the planet. Yeah. You can shit your pants and accidentally punch one of them, and they would still make you feel like $1 million when you leave there. They're like, you did great. You're a great actor. Chin up. You're awesome. Even though it smells a little bit, and I got a bloody nose. So yeah, I get the call that I'm pinned for it. Like a few days later, I was like, oh my god, what's that kind of mean? That's kind of an avail pin. And then
pins. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pins are so much better than avails.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
So I was green, so I didn't know any of this stuff. So I was like, what is that? Is that? So I get to do it. At this time, they didn't even have a hospital set, so we shot across the street from Disney at a real hospital. There's like Providence Hospital over there.
That's where John Ritter passed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
because he was filming at Disney.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I just saw a little mini doc on like TV about John Ritter.
I would like to see that.
Oh my god, he's the greatest. Anyway, so we shoot. I get to work with Tracy Ellis Ross and Marseille Martin, and they're two of the greatest like comedic actresses going. I think they're so fun to work with and so nice and so kind. We just had a great day, so I thought that was kind of it. Did one episode of Blackish, and it was kind of my first TV credit. So
first TV credit,
put it on the resume, and then it became, it got a full season of shows. It got picked up for a second season. Now it's in its 5th season already.
Okay.
And it's just a hit for ABC. It's so cool.
But yeah, that's all great and all. But tell me about you. How many episodes have you done?
My
now?
5th episode is Nurse Larry just showed last week.
Dude, that is awesome, man. And being on it 5 times, you are now, no matter what, officially a part of that show.
It's cool to go on IMDb and you see, Tracy Ellis Ross, Anthony Anderson, Lawrence Fishburne, all the kids. And there's, all the people that Anthony Anderson works with at the,
ad agency.
Yeah, Nelson Franklin and Jeff Meacham and Wanda Sykes and all them.
Sure.
And then like a couple more steps down, Nurse Larry.
Dude, that is awesome, man.
I'm like the 20th most prevalent character on Blackish.
That's great, dude. Okay, so how do you feel in life knowing you got that in your back pocket? Does that make you hungry, or does that make you want to get another show? What does that do for you?
It's like such a great set, and it's so great to go back on there. And it's the first time in TV where I've gone back to something where, the ADs welcome me back and they know me by my first name, and it's like I'm on one episode a year, if that. And the last time I shot, it was really cool because it's a cool set in that. The guy that was the DP, the first 3 or 4 episodes I did, he was directing that episode.
Oh,
it was
really?
his second episode as the director. So they help everyone like rise through the ranks, and they bring people up the ladder. Creatively, it's a diverse set. There's a lot of women. There's a lot of people of color, and it's the coolest set in town.
It really is.
So I got lucky that was my first. It wasn't a nightmare or walking on eggshells or no one talks to you or the opposite of that.
Yeah, when you left the set last, do you listen to those magic words like, hey, we'll see you again? Or do you kind of like listen for things?
I'm hyper observant and just, you want to know your place when you're on set. You don't want to be too gregarious and feel like you fit in when when you show up once a year. But at the same time, you don't want to just sit there and not talk to anyone. And again, like talking to the director, he was really gracious in saying like, man, we need to have you back more. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And they have an incredible writers staff, and I know that they've probably turned over a little bit over the years, but for them to think in the hospital, there's me, there's Mindy Sterling, Andy Daly, Scott Johansson, and a couple other like great actors that they like. Jeff Meacham's wife, Christy, they bring her back, so they like they think of everybody to like keep bringing people back.
That's great,
over
man.
and over. And
That's
it's
great.
just, I don't know. They don't have to do that, and that they do that is just, it's really cool.
Okay, you're telling me everything great.
Yeah, what's the worst?
Well, I'm going to get to that. But I've heard nothing but good times for you in Hollywood. Has it always been a good time?
Oh, no. Not at all.
Tell me, give me a bump, give me a roadblock that you've had to go through.
Well, the first one was when I decided to quit my day job. I had booked my first big like commercial campaign. It was for TurboTax, and I got to do crazy special effects makeup where they made me look like Ben Franklin. I don't know if you remember those,
yep,
where it was
I
like
remember,
Ben
yep.
Franklin, Andrew Jackson, and Ulysses S. Grant were telling you to use TurboTax.
Yeah, remember it.
There was like 3 comedic character actors that they got to do it, and we did like 4 or 5 commercials. We did radio spots, print. So I was, I just thought to myself, I'm gonna make the leap. I'm gonna take the plunge. And this is the tail end of 2008, not knowing that there was a huge recession about to hit. So I quit my day job, took the leap. All that TurboTax money came in like the beginning part of 2009 for that tax season. So it was great, and for a while, all was well. I was okay. And then I didn't book anything for most of like a year and a half to 2 years. So that money got spent on me just living.
Right.
And didn't book anything. 2009 was rough. Most
And-
of 2010 was rough.
And when you're not booking, you're thinking in your head, you're not booking anymore.
Oh, again, I was so green and so new still that I had only been really doing commercials for about a year when I took the huge leap. Maybe a little over a year or so. And I had heard the stories of people saying, oh yeah, back in the 80s I killed it and I did 20 commercials in 1 year and have a house in the hills, but didn't work for a decade or something. So I was very well aware of that. It was just those 2 years were tough. I didn't go out like at all because I had no money. So people would be like, hey, come to my birthday. And I'd be like,
Right.
sorry, I love you.
Okay, so those 2 years, when did you start feeling the shift? What did you do something to make the shift happen?
No, I think it was just a matter of, I think the recession did hit advertising and marketing really hard, and that was maybe the start of the non-union proliferation too, where it was just people were trying to find ways to cut costs, and that was it, where I think just less auditions, less things produced, and so just less opportunities, and you get released from 8 avails in a row or 14 avails.
It happens
in a row.
like that too, 8 in a row, man.
Like everybody I talk to, where it's just when you just even get the avail call, it's not fun anymore.
It's not.
At first, it was cool because you like back in the day, I'd say about a decade ago, if you got an avail, I'd say 9 out of 10 times
Yeah.
you booked it, and now I'd say 4 out of 10 or.
And a veil means we're going to kick you in the gut later.
Yeah, it's a dick tease. It's like,
Yeah.
you're this close. You're this close to
Right.
maybe making $5,000 to $35,000.
Yeah. And then even if you book it, I don't ever want to get negative on this, but but then when you book it, that's not even a guarantee that you're going to
No.
make the cut. You're going to be cut out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things have to happen now
Yeah.
for you to be on TV.
Yeah, there's so many friends that have booked commercials, and I've been downgraded a couple times.
Sure.
I've been cut out of a few more, where they shoot 20 vignettes and only 5 make the cut.
Yeah.
And I have friends that are in great commercials that for some reason it's controversial, or something in the commercial is something that's happening in the zeitgeist right
Yeah,
now, and they're
yeah.
like, pull it. That's it. You ran for a week, you get a couple $100. And
I
that's
did.
it.
I did an American Airlines commercial, and I filmed it on 9/9,
Oh boy,
2 days before 9/11,
that is awful.
and it was a talking seat from an airplane, and I just knew right then and there that
That's
they're-
not.
So that went away, but that was,
man.
and it was probably, as I say this because no one will ever see it, probably one of my funniest commercials I've ever done.
man.
But it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about those guys.
That
and I
one I
apologize.
think is a little easier to just like chalk it up.
Yeah,
to.
well, it is, but the only reason why I brought that up is because to say so many things could happen.
Yeah. Like in particular, there was a spot I booked. It was for a credit card company, and it's going to be across the board, national network, cable, internet, the whole shebang, everything. And then I go to the fitting, and they want me to shave my mustache. At the time, I had my moneymaker mustache, and they wanted me to shave. Oh, that's fine. And they shave my mustache, and I get fitted my clothes. As I'm walking to my car after the fitting, my agent calls, and they're like,
Oh, no.
they just got back to me, and they said this is going to be internet only. that my agents were furious, and they were like, "Did you shave your mustache?" And I told them I had, and they were just totally pissed. So we go back and forth. We just kind of thought what they did was so shady and weird. Like, they're not, and they don't want to play ball. They don't want to pay me anything extra for it. So let's walk away. So I was bummed for a few days, like, giving up a commercial that I thought was, this credit card commercial. Maybe this will run a ton on TV.
Yeah.
It didn't. But I think a friend got the job, took the job, and that's awesome. I hope they made some money off it. But what was great is I was bummed for a couple days, but then got the opportunity to go out for a Verizon commercial that I wouldn't have been able to if I shot the Visa.
That's right.
I shoot the commercial. It's with J.J. Watt.
I love that dude.
I'm with Eileen O'Connell and Irene White, who are two of the
funniest,
greatest comedic women actors on the planet. Became friends with both of them, worked with a director I'd worked with, and that commercial ran all football season.
Amen,
so
brother.
It's like, so anybody out there, it's like, if something shitty happens, don't worry. Just keep your eyes open, ears open. Something better is gonna happen.
Okay, we're gonna start winding down here really quick. Darkest day in Hollywood, or have you already told us?
No, darkest day in Hollywood. That's tough because I think I've been okay with like losing jobs. I'd say that the darkest days have to do with personal stuff of just like I've gone through huge depressions and anxiety and had to go to therapy, which is the best thing in the world. But there's more personal stuff. As an actor, I've been ridiculously fortunate. So my darkest day is, I don't even know if it's worth like.
All right, okay. Best days in Hollywood. Are you living them right now, or is it in the past, or is it in the future?
This last 10 years, even though there's been huge ups and huge downs, this has been the greatest time ever because I get to wake up every day. I've been pretty much without a day job for over 10 or 11 years.
Amen, brother.
I never in my life would have expect that this is my career. And I get to do other stuff. I can write, and I can come do this with you on a Monday, and that I get to do that and have been able to, luckily, for a long time is nuts. So.
Well, Mike, you're always a big walking positive person. When you walk into an audition room, everybody's always excited to see you.
That's one of my favorite things about auditions now.
Right?
Is you just get to see people.
Yes.
If auditions are few and far between, there's times when I don't go out for a couple months. And then I do, and I'll go to 200 South, and I'll see like 15 people that I love, that are awesome. So,
all right. Anything else? I think you've already gave us some good piece of advice, but is there anything that you keep in your back pocket if you ever need like an acting tip that you've learned?
Yeah, I think one thing I've learned, and part of that was by being able to sit on the other side of the table during auditions. I've helped out a couple directors just read with actors. And I realized that, like, you're kick-ass at what you do. All of our friends are great. So I'd say my advice is just to take it easy on yourself. Like, if you totally blow an audition, you're fine. Because when you see 100 people come into the room, almost everybody we know, it's like, you're upper echelon. You're good. You practice, you rehearse, you work that stuff, you come up with bits, you can improvise, you're agile, you're flexible, you're kind, you're funny, you're nice to be around, and it's like, if you're doing that, you are fine. So don't kick your own ass.
Person. Yeah,
don't
that's
kick your own
fantastic.
ass. Like, I mean, don't be deluded and think you're God's gift. You always need to be hungry, but at the same time, don't beat up on yourself and talk shit about yourself.
Mike, I like the way you roll, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, do me a favor. Will you tell everybody goodbye for me?
Goodbye, everybody.